I'm just gonna stop it.
Did,
Just a minute.
did you speak with
This meeting 31 a.m. So, item 2, consideration of the minutes of the April 27th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the April 27th
So
meeting?
moved.
second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, closing item 2, opening item 3. So just a couple quick comments. We're just going to be dealing with this today. The questionnaire to send out to the department heads. We probably should have discussed it last time. My apologies on that. Once we approve this, I will get this out the door by close of business today. And then once May 18th hits and the results from everybody are due, I will send everybody a copy of the results and I'll send that all around to you in advance of the May 25th meeting. So with that, I will close item 3, opening item 4, public comments within the jurisdiction of the committee. Are there any public comments in person
On anything?
within the jurisdiction of the committee?
Okay. So I just wanna, from my perspective, the task of this task force is to look at the standing committees. And I think that in our prior meetings, we were talking about, and we can talk about anything, but we're the Board of Health, Human Services, that's commissions and boards. So I just wanted to bring that up, that I want to stay focused on what our intent is here. And then the other thing is, I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people on the survey
Mhm.
to the board.
Okay.
So I can see that we're gonna have, we'll see their comments when they fill out the survey. And a couple of directors have said, do we have to sign our name
No,
to the survey? And I go, no.
no, they don't.
I think they really are worried if they make the wrong comment, it's gonna come back and bite them. Either direction, and that's not what our intent is.
No, not at all. And that's why
Okay.
nobody's name was supposed to be affixed to it.
But I think some are going to put their names on them.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I had for this time. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm here for Jim Wise. I'm here for the other committee, the other Ad-Hoc committee on that. Just we're seeing what you guys are doing because it definitely affects us too. So just if you have any questions along the way, just I'm here to talk to you.
Supervisor Eisen.
Yeah, while I agree the focus of the inquiry is on the standing committees, but it's very difficult to separate standing committees from their buddies, commissions and boards. For instance, when you're looking at public works, there isn't any public works direct, doesn't include a solid waste. If you're looking at human services, there's rarely a human services that doesn't include health. So you're going to mingle boards and commissions along with the standing committees. The concept I introduced, which is a concept of groups, so that, you know, you can align all these different departments, whether they be committee, subject to committees, standing committees, or whether their oversight is by a board or commission. You'd have those in a particular group, and you know, you're not going to disturb the integrity of that unit or of those committee members or board members that are supervising or overseeing that department's functions. So I hear what you're saying, but I have difficulty you know, my personal thrust is simply groups rather than combinations or consolidations. But the bottom line is, if the concepts of groups flies, then perhaps consolidations won't be far behind.
Okay, so with that, is there anyone else? I'm gonna try to move down the agenda. I'm gonna move to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to make any comments?
Yes, I would.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi, may I speak?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to thank Supervisors Eisen, Defferding, Gabbert, Hanson, Flom, and anybody else. This is such an important task that you guys are working hard on, and I greatly appreciate it. I wanted to thank you for having Fond du Lac's executive last time. I found that to be very informative. I just support you, and I just want to thank you at this point. That's all.
All right, thank you very much, Shauna. So with that, I will close item 4, open item 5, communication shared by committee members. Let's keep this brief so we can get to the questionnaire. Is there anything else? Okay. I'm gonna close item 5, open item 6, consideration vote, getting feedback from department heads on committee restructuring via a multiple choice questionnaire. Okay, do I have a motion to introduce this questionnaire?
Second.
Okay, so moved by Supervisor Hanson, seconded by Supervisor Defferding. Okay, so let's open some discussion on this. Does anybody have any tweaks or edits that they would like to introduce to this questionnaire? Hopefully, everybody's had a decent amount of time to look at it. Basically, nobody's gonna be affixing their name to this. If they would like to, they can, but it's not required. And so we're gonna start with how long have you been a department head? How often does your committee of jurisdiction meet? About how many hours a month in committee prep and committee time does your department dedicate? In your view, which most accurately describes the workload? What is your degree of satisfaction? Do you think a committee restructure would save your department time and effort? I would like to add one more question. And that will be between questions 3 and 4. And it would be approximately how many staff do you dedicate to committee prep and committee time?
I apologize. Could you say that again?
Approximately how many staff does your department dedicate to committee prep and committee time a month?
So this is geared for, it says committee.
Right.
So are you giving this to all the department heads who have boards or commissions, like human services, and
So that's
how
another one.
are we dealing with this? Because
Right.
here you say committee, but if this is going to all department heads, I can name 2, Doug and
Sure.
John, that are gonna get this, and if they don't have a committee, they have a board or commission.
So should we include commissions and boards, just so we make sure?
I
Yeah,
think you're gonna need to do that,
Okay.
even though my scope is still on the committee structure. And I understand that. We'll have a discussion at the next meeting on that. But
Okay, so then in all of the spaces where it says committees, like in the preamble, we'll add commissions and boards. And then in question 2, committee, comma, commission, or board of jurisdiction meets. Approximately how many hours a month in committee, again, commission, or or board.
You could say on that number 3, you could say committee, board, commission, prep, and town.
Prep and time, yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll strike and committee
yeah.
and time.
Yeah.
That's fine, I'm just saying like. Question 4, under committee, commission, or board.
Number 5 could be a little tricky because you're asking about the degree of satisfaction with the current committee structure. They can't really, you're gonna put board or commission on there. We're back to what our task is. You're gonna ask them to talk about what their satisfaction is of all 3.
Well, I guess, then what is their county board body of jurisdiction or citizen advisory body of jurisdiction? That's what, I guess, that's what we're trying to get at.
I mean, you can put it in, but if you're asking them very satisfied, neutral, somewhat very dissatisfied, they may not answer that one. Because they're thinking, I don't have anything to say
So
about the
could
boards
we-
and commissions.
Could we reword it with, what is your degree of satisfaction with your interaction with the county board? Because that's the relationship we're trying to establish
Mhm.
between their department and their committee or commissioner for jurisdiction. Paul, you had something?
Yeah, I thank you very much for taking the initiative for designing this questionnaire. But at the risk of not knowing whether or not you're going to do anything, I kind of mimicked the questionnaire that I had prepared for the county board supervisors. And I would like to distribute copies of this so that you can maybe see if there's any relevance to fill a gap in that. I'm sorry, I only
That's good.
had one short.
That's good.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's well done.
You know, I don't have any qualms with what you had put there.
Sure.
But in as much as I had taken the time to design that, I thought maybe if that would, and of course, the questions that are in your questionnaire are basically the same thing
Yeah.
as what I have designed there. But
Well, I guess,
whether or not some other feature of design or manner of presenting the question would be preferable, is something that
Right.
the committee can perfect.
well, I guess we could, if that's gonna cause issues, we could just strike question 5.
Is it possible instead of the A through E on question 5, maybe this requires a rewording, a text box? Just say, what is your current interaction? Or describe your current interaction with the structure of the Winnebago County Board.
Right, describe your department's interaction with the board, so the committee and commissioner board, they can mention that, and then we can separate what they're mentioning from what other people may mention. How do people feel about that? So instead of us asking the departments will tell us who they interact with.
That works, yeah, that works. That, because then, that'll give us a better idea of who they actually interact with the most. Right. And, that'll clue us in on, what directions we would take going forward, right? I agree.
Okay, so actually, I'll motion for that.
I don't have any problems with that question. As a matter of fact, you and I worked independently to design what we did. And I have exactly the same question that you asked. Because I think, or I thought, that it was a relevant question to ask. I'm a head of the department, and we're talking about restructuring the committees, whether it be in a group, whether it be a consolidation of any variety. What is the degree of your satisfaction with the committee, commission, and board participation? Well, maybe what I say is a little different twist, because I say board participation. So, maybe what I'm focusing on is the committee members rather than the department head's view of the committee. What is your degree of satisfaction with your committee, commission, or board participation? You've got people that participate in the committee, and, you're asking the department head, what kind of job is your committee doing? What kind of job is you're doing? Are they doing a satisfactory, strongly satisfactory, or satisfied, or unsatisfied, or in the terms that you had, degree of satisfaction with the, okay, here you're asking the committee structure, and here I'm asking a committee or board participation. Perhaps if we could tweak that 5 to say the board participation committee. What is the degree of satisfaction with your current committee, commission, or board participation? Then you could go on with that question and tap into what the employee, the
Feels about.
manager thinks about what his people are doing.
Conley, you had something?
Apologies if I'm missing something. I am not opposed to leaving question 5 alone. You inserted 1 question, so there's really 7 right now. I would not be opposed then to just leaving 8 as a text box for comments.
Okay.
And it can be, what would you like to see, and what is, describe your satisfaction or your dissatisfaction?
So you want one more question tacked on?
Yes, just for a text box, and I think that would accomplish instead of redoing all of it, that would accomplish what Supervisor Eisen was also asking for, because now you're inviting comment, and I don't even care if you limit it text character.
Okay.
On it.
Sure. So how would you like to write that out?
I don't know. Basic, I guess, can you just, or please describe, you can say optional, period, please describe your current interaction. And satisfaction or dissatisfaction. With
So,
Winnebago County Board.
so
I'm
please
open to
describe
that being changed.
your
Doing that on the fly.
so please describe your current interaction with the Winnebago County Board and whether or not you're satisfied with it. So as to their specific situation.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know if I would say, if you're satisfied with it, because that makes it argumentative. That's, I hope that's not what we're doing. Just
It's allowing people to be frank.
right.
Right.
And, oh,
Yeah, go for it.
okay. Yeah, and I do have an idea as well, and, as a follow-up, and this would also be a text box as well. Simply stating briefly, or in brief.
Right.
Provide some comments on what the county could do to make your operations more efficient with our committee structure.
Okay, so in brief, provide some comments on what the county board could do.
What the county board can do to make your operations more efficient with our committee structure, or with Winnebago County's committee structure.
Okay, so. Question 8 from Conley, hold on just a second, let me just make sure we have it out. 8, please describe your current interaction with the Winnebago County Board and your degree of satisfaction with it. Conley, you would.
Yes, yeah, that's,
Okay. Okay, and then question 9 from Brian. In brief, provide some comments on what the county board can do to make your operations more efficient with our committee structure.
Perfect. Perfect.
Paul.
I fear that both the comments from Conley and from Brian are straying away from committee. You're asking what the county board could do. We're not here to describe what the county board could do. We're here to see and examine the committee structure.
But the county board gave us a mandate to look at this.
I favored the opportunity to look at it because I realized, having been on the board since 2006, that we hadn't done anything to examine committees or this type of issue since 2007, when we had the personnel function review. And so, how could you quarrel with an opportunity to look at it, at least to look at it? Of course, I don't agree that we need to make any changes, any structural changes, but I feel that both of those questions are straying away from the structure of the committees and going into the realm of policy making of decisions that the county board, 36 supervisors undertake.
But the county board had to vote this in as a resolution for us to look at this. So in effect, we're an arm of the county board looking at this issue. I think it's kind of semantics because, to be honest, we passed a resolution that supervisors asked Sarah wrote for the county board to review this vis-a-vis the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee. That gave us a mandate. We wouldn't be sitting here if the county board didn't have that vote. So I think we're just kind of arguing over semantics, but I don't think it's a problem if we include that.
Well, I don't have a problem with whatever you do, but I'll still maintain the perspective that I had shared before, and I had distributed copies of, what the direction I thought we might go into. But then as a compromise, that might end up where the county board itself wants to go. They don't want to tinker with things that are working well. And I suggest from the financial status of the county treasury and the high caliber of department heads, that we've been doing a lot of things right. And, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go ahead and look at it all you want.
I slightly disagree with Supervisor Eisen. I like the text boxes there. No one's going to embarrass me if they call me out and say I'm missing the point. I want to hear some feedback, because the committees, commissions, whatever, on their own really can't do anything without board approval. So I want their opinion. They can say, leave it alone. They can say, make a change.
Ultimately, we have to tie back the operational to the policymakers.
Right.
As members of the county board, we are the policymakers. The operations are these department heads who we want to hear from. And I, for one, think if we include from the operations and their point of view, what is their interaction with us? Because I think we do a lot right, but I don't think we do everything right.
But, and I also want, if, I'm not saying that just because we're here, I said this at the first meeting, just because we're here, doesn't mean we're mandating a change or we have to make a change. I'm amenable to leaving it alone. But I want the feedback from them on those texts, but I would prefer the feedback, because if there is a change, I want anyone that is involved in the change to know that they have a voice in it.
Right.
I don't want the board to say, this is how it's going to be, enforce something on committee members that they don't want, like, or felt that they have no say in.
Right. I think it's important to get operations point of view. So I guess with that, because we have these text box on question 8, question 9, I think we may be able to strike question 5 because it would be a little bit repetitive. If we're asking for their viewpoint, they can offer their degree of satisfaction if they want, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. So we can probably strike question 5.
And let it refer to the text box?
Yep.
I agree, because 5 bothers me.
Sure, and we can make it more open-ended.
If I were a department head, I'd be real careful what I'd say, even if I don't have my name on something.
Right.
Because it looks like you're asking them. And some might say very satisfied.
Right.
And there might be one out there that's very dissatisfied, but really doesn't want to check that box. You know,
Right.
the semantics enters in, so.
Right.
If you want to do it with your text box, I'm fine with that. Because if we realize that this questionnaire is advisory only.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's gonna be earth shattering.
Right.
One way or the other.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day. So I think if we kind of leave it open-ended, they don't have to stake out a position if they don't want to. If they do want to, they're more than welcome.
Or they don't have to fill out the survey if they
Right.
don't want to,
And no, they don't want to.
which will be interesting how many we get back.
Right. Okay,
So if you
so,
guys are okay with striking 5.
Yep.
I'm okay, because your text box, either they're gonna say something or they're not either.
right,
But it gives them the option.
right.
Can we get a copy from you of the new updated survey that's gonna go out?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'm making my notes here, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 is gone,
5 is gone,
and we're adding.
Yeah.
7 and an 8,
yes, and then I'll renumber them to reflect.
Right.
The actual numbers.
okay,
So technically 7 and 8 would be 6 and 7.
yes.
So. So now, okay, so let's just kind of look at these changes to.
Yes.
And then we'll just pass this, so. The preamble, the structure of the task force's mission is to review Winnebago County's committees, commissions. And boards.
Yeah.
Gather information,
Mhm.
and we'll go on. And then, question 2, how often does your committee, commission or board of jurisdiction meet? Question 3, approximately how many hours a month in committee, commission or board? And, prep and time does your department dedicate? There'll be a text box there. Question 4. Approximately how many staff does your department dedicate to committee, commission, or board prep and time a month?
So that's 4. 3 is gonna stay like it is?
Yep, 3, yeah, so we just added in commissions. and
So you're
boards.
asking for hours and then 4, you're asking for how many staff?
People, yeah, hours and
Okay.
people.
Okay,
Then question 5, in your view, which most accurately describes the workload of your committees, committee, commission, or board of jurisdiction? And then we will strike the old 5. And then, so 5, question 6. Do you think the restructure of Winnebago County's committee structure would save your department time and effort? Question 7, please describe your current interaction with the Winnebago County Board and your satisfaction with it. And then 8, in brief, provide some comments on what the county board can do to make your operations more efficient with our committee structure.
do you wanna go back to the, I'll call it the preamble up there?
Sure.
Where you said committee, commission, board gather information, and recommend whether change in
The,
committee structure, I think you need to,
should we say overall?
I think you need to say board and commission there,
Okay,
right?
Committee, yeah, committee, commission. and
Not
board.
that we have, I don't know, is that too repetitive, but you're making it committee, board and commission,
Or we could just say a change in structure.
okay, that would be better.
Yeah, we can just leave out. just change
Okay.
in Structure.
Otherwise, you're
Right,
repeating and,
Yep.
yeah, and you've
Change in
already said
structure.
it. Okay, so take out committee up there.
Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, what department heads is this gonna go to? Is it only going
Going all.
to those who are standing committee and the 3 that were identified and with the human services and health and solid waste? Or is it gonna go to the Department for Veterans Commission?
It's gonna go to all of them.
Gonna go to all, okay.
And if anybody would have any concerns with that, I know that like veterans, they report to GPS, right? And that will reflect in the survey results. You will see that trend. Would anybody have any other issues with sending it to all the department heads?
Well, can I comment on that?
Sure.
There's been some rumblings in the past that veterans should report to human services because they're actually human services rather than a judiciary or public law situation. There are models out there from counties that have reduced their committee size, where they have the county clerk going to the administration department. They have the treasurer going to the P and F committee. They're making a lot of different changes there. How is that going to fit in
I mean, if
our?
I don't see, because I think this is open-ended. If the department heads want to say, hey, I think I should report to a different committee, I think I'd like to know. I mean, they have the work that they do, and if they feel in their mind that they should report to a different committee, I don't think there's a problem if they want to say that. If they don't want to say that, they don't have to.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make one last pitch for my perspective. And that is, if we can have end result with these committees, commissions and boards and the standing committees we've identified, focused in their groups, as perhaps I had suggested, and in the model which Fondle has presented their committees, commissions, and boards. Well, that may be a prototype for a future consolidation, but I have difficulty going past all of this once we have all the information on consolidating.
Any other comments?
I'll save mine for the, when we have our meeting.
If I can.
Yeah. Go for it.
I love the way you guys are going. This is great from our perspective. We need this very quickly. This to have this be resolved, and I'm all in favor of it too. The thing I question about the points that you're going through, make sure that it is not something that somebody can go back to and look at it and say, hey, that was Dave. That's Dave's right there. He's not happy. So
Yeah, these are
you
all
gotta make it
blind.
very generic.
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
get
These are all
blocks
blind.
of other. something
Yeah,
there.
these are all blind. Nobody has to put their name on this, and we will not know when we get the results back who submitted what. We're not gonna know that. They will all be blind, and that's how they will always work. So if they want to put their name on it, they can, but they're not required to by any stretch of the imagination.
And then the second question is your charter enough that you can, such that you can working about the commissions and boards that are all appointed by John Damon?
Right, and that's
Is
why I'd like to have Mary Ann come to the next meeting. And kind of look at that, because that's something we do need to be wary of, is that if this would clash with chairman of the county board's appointment power versus the county executive's appointment authority, that could create an issue.
Yeah.
So that's why, that's a point I would like to bring up. We don't have to discuss that now, but that is something I would like Mary Ann there at the next meeting to kind of brief us on that and see what the risks are in that regard. I think there's obviously other counties have done this, they've been able to navigate this, so I don't see why we can't, but we'll have to figure that out.
That was why I said we gotta remember what our task is on
Yes.
this task
Yes.
force, because I don't wanna get into that area.
Right.
Like we're this all powerful unit.
Mhm.
And for Jim's comment, I know 2 department heads said they won't fill out that survey if there's any way they feel they're gonna lose their job if they speak up. That's what's operating out there
Sure,
in
sure.
the real world of department
No,
heads.
yeah, these are not meant in any way
And that's what I told them.
at all.
We don't, there's no handwriting that's gonna be recognized, no
No.
name, no email. They want their jobs, they don't want, but they're gonna comment.
And that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
But they should be protected in doing so, and they should
Right.
understand that they fully are, so. I'd like to wrap this up with Paul.
Well, way back when the Personnel Function Review Committee did its thing, the Human Services Director refused to categorize or rank the programs in his department, one better than the other, except for the school DARE drug program, which he was willing to let go.
Sure.
And so, you know, this was a really big thing, and there's a really big study with questionnaires going to every single department and every single program in every single department. And you know how many programs there are in human services. And if that director wouldn't do the survey that was presented then, it's reasonable to see
Sure.
where any department
Sure.
head may not care to respond.
Well, it's up to them, it's not. me.
It's up to them,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's up to them, and I think that's the precedent we're setting. I mean, we could have just avoided talking to department heads altogether, but I don't think that would have been a good idea. So we need their input. So if, Jim, from your point of view, if we sent this to all the department heads, would that interfere with what your task force is up to?
It depends on the timing issue, because
Okay.
we're under the gun on this, and we have a lot to do.
Sure.
We're gonna be doing some serious discovery stages right now.
Okay.
On this, because right now we see about 3 different opportunities, there may be a 4th or 5th, I don't know.
Right.
But depends on how many committees we're talking about.
Right.
That's number one.
So you just want us to wrap this up essentially? So-
No.
Yeah, right.
We wanna wrap it up too. We don't
There's
wanna-
5, and that's it.
No, but I think that's the
No,
thing.
but
The reason is I want to get this out by today. I will, once we finish this, I will type this all out, send it back all out to you. Everybody can get eyes on that. I'll say, this is what I'm sending to the clerk. And then Julie will send it out to the department heads. So we'll get that done. It is due on May 18th. So it is due the same time that the county boards is due as a whole. So that gives us a window of opportunity for everybody to look at what everybody said. I'll lay it all out. Everybody can look at it, digest it, bring it to the next meeting, and then we'll go from there. And I hope that's when, this is outside this agenda item, but I hope that's when we can put together a framework of sorts, because Jim's waiting, and I don't want to keep him waiting much longer, so.
Again, we're all on separate
Right.
committees,
Right.
and we all know the department heads, not intimately, but why can't we all just talk to them, say, hey, you're gonna fill this out?
And
Yes,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
It's
no,
important.
if
It
you
is
want to do that,
really
you
important
absolutely
for us.
can. I think
So
you should encourage
we've
your
got 5
department heads,
people here on.
right? You should
And
encourage your
committees, maybe.
department heads to answer this. I would absolutely agree. Paul, and then I want to
Yeah,
know.
where can we see the list of department heads that this is gonna go to? You know, Julie is the head of the department. Are you talking about the clerk's office also as
Yep.
department? Are
Treasurer,
you talking about?
register deeds.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
all of the ones that are elected and non-elected.
Could we see for the next meeting perhaps, a list of
Let's just do the list now. So
those
let's, because I want to
departments
get this out the
that
door today.
it's going
Yeah,
to?
Yeah, let's do the list now. I want to get this out the door.
Go for it.
Right.
Do you have it, Jake, or do you want me to,
Hold on. Do you have one?
um, I forgot my mouse in the office, so I'm using the,
All right, well, I'll just go right down the list. ADRC, Whitman Airport, Child Support, Clerk of Courts, Conflict Resolution, Coroner, Corp Council, County Board, County Clerk, County Executive, DA, Emergency Management. So here's, okay, so if we don't want to do conflict resolution. Mary Beth, I know that, did you want to do conflict resolution or not?
Right.
We can leave that out.
I don't see
Yeah.
the purpose of that
Yeah.
one. I'm sorry to say, but
No, that's okay.
I'm here to voice my opinion.
Absolutely.
I don't know. where
So
we're
we'll
at.
remove conflict resolution. There's no corner, it's a medical examiner, so.
See, I thought you were gonna do like aviation facilities, that grouping.
Right.
Okay, and then I thought you were gonna do human services, board of health, Doug
Right,
and
yeah.
John.
Right.
And then, Robbie. Solid waste. I didn't know we were gonna go all out.
Oh, so all the ones that John has. Under his
You're adding
jurisdiction,
many
yeah.
more that I would, that's kind of interesting to me.
Are you opposed to it, or?
No, I don't know. So you're gonna have like the county clerk or the county treasurer? Who are they under right now?
The clerk is under JPS.
All of them are under JP?
No, the treasurer, I think, is under PNS.
Oh, okay, okay. Wow.
Would you like to just do,
So I'm seeing,
no, which one would you like to do? Because I'd like to see what you want to do. I want to hear your idea.
so my thought was the 12 department heads for the standing committees,
Okay,
well, except you got legislative in there, which is,
but you also have judiciary in there, which is a lot. There's a lot.
there's a lot under judiciary.
Right.
And learning this morning that veterans is under judiciary
Yep.
is interesting to me. I wouldn't have put it there, but, okay. So I guess I don't want this to be swayed to it.
If you'd rather have them go to just these, if you're more comfortable with that, we can go.
Well, it's not being comfortable or uncomfortable, but I'm saying, who would it go to under judiciary and public safety if it only went to one person?
Well, if it went to Brian, then Brian would have to send that out to
Right,
the
the
sheriff.
sheriff.
the clerk of courts. That's why I don't want to include any of the commissioners on there, because that would fall under clerk of courts, but Cheryl, Eric, the DA, the medical examiner, the register of deeds, and then who else do we have? Oh, we would have to go to emergency management too. because
Yeah.
we have Eric,
Yeah.
right, and also all the veterans, yep, veterans as well, okay. So if we're just gonna send them to the ones that are under the committee's of jurisdiction, you're still gonna get a lot of departments,
Yeah,
because there's a lot that sits under JPS. So legislative, I mean, I don't know what we would send there. Right? Yeah,
who's gonna speak to
Maria.
it? Nothing.
Mary Ann is under JPS.
Yeah, right.
Correct. So. If people are more comfortable with that, because when you break them down, there's quite a bit.
Go ahead, go for it.
Can I just read, because when you said department heads, this is my list.
Okay.
Okay, it would, my name is on first, Tara Berry would be clerk of courts, Jerry Bougie, planning and zoning, Adam Reese is parks, Cheryl Bremer would be medical examiner, Jeff Buchholz, veterans, Chad Casper is land and water, Mike Collard, Department of Administration, John Damo, Bob Damo for highway, Mike Elder, facilities, Patty Francor would be IT, Lindsay Gosga Parish would be Parkview, Doug Gearin, public health, Mark Habeck is HR. Ethan is part of my email. Amber Hoppa is the new county treasurer. Then I have all of the judges listed, which I don't know if you were wanting to include them.
No.
It would be really easy for me to take their names out.
Would you like to?
I don't know what we're gonna gain,
We're gonna gain nothing if we. include the
Nothing.
judges.
Okay.
because
Yeah. That wouldn't make any sense.
I'm saying that, I mean,
Yeah,
they're not,
but then I go to Julie Mabry, child support, John Mott, sheriff, Mary Ann, corp counsel. I shouldn't say it too loud, but Liz Nichols is included in my list. I don't know that she's part of, to me, for me, part of planning and zoning. So I think Jerry would be enough, or do you think Liz should get it too?
there's some history there that we aren't gonna go.
That's what I mean, that's,
Cause she's not really involved with any committee, but here's my take, Mike Collard and Ethan, but they're part of administration. So how, are you gonna have
Yeah,
John,
can we take?
Ethan,
Yeah,
and,
just have Mike.
I would just have speak for administration, just Mike.
yep,
That'd be it.
I agree,
And take,
cause we get
John,
convolute,
yeah,
then you throw the judges back in, cause you've convoluted the other part.
Yeah, let's just work off of
okay,
Julie's.
So I'm good with planning and zoning, just Jerry Bougie, because Liz is
Nope.
under that department, and so, yeah.
yep. I'm not sure where Ashley Paul is, if she's,
Oh, she's a director of nursing out at Parkview.
okay,
So I think you should just stick with
Take-
Lindsay.
okay.
Yep.
John Raby would be solid waste, Eric Rasmussen, emergency management. Here again, Carrie Rowe is included.
In EM,
Your Curie Row is included?
in my department head list,
Oh,
but I think,
Jerry could handle it.
yeah,
So who do you have for UW Extension, Education and
is
A?
it Chris?
yes, Chris,
Okay, you got. it.
yeah. Jim Shell Airport, Eric Spire, DA, Natalie is Register of Deeds. Bill Topol would be Human Services, and then Chris View for UW Extension.
And you had Doug, right, Doug? here?
Yes,
Did you get planning? I'm sorry. Planning, Jerry Diggins?
Bougie, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we would send it to just
Because he has
him,
IDP or IDP.
yeah. But I would take off Carrie Roll
Yeah.
and just let Jerry do the,
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah,
I can, that's,
Okay, perfect. Is everybody okay with those?
mhm.
Those names? Okay. So could you list out all the ones, or I guess it's all of them minus those?
I'm not sure who,
Did you have Robbie for solid waste?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Yep.
Okay.
so I'm taking out Ethan, am I taking out John Damo too?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. That didn't sound good.
No, it didn't, but, yeah. I thought it was convoluted, but I think.
I think you get a truck a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna include Liz, Ashley
No.
Paul, Carrie Rowe, and then none of the judges.
Yep.
Okay,
Could you send that list
of who it's all going
of who
to.
it's all going to?
What if when I send the survey, include all of you
Mhm.
as to who the names have gone to? I'll like carbon copy this,
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay,
I can't call you, but this task force.
Yes, perfect.
okay, so if people are okay with trusting Julie to send that out to everybody, with the exclusion of those names, is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay, so when I supposed to go, I will write this out of what we were able to achieve on this right here.
And we'll get a copy of that from
Yes.
Julie when so you don't need to get us this, it'll come through Julie when she sends.
Would
it
you
out.
like to see it typed out with the edits, or are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it because what we discussed is good and then we'll get our copy through Julie.
Okay,
You don't need to email us.
so I will include these edits. Does anybody have anything else? on
When do
this
you
agenda?
intend to send the survey out, like tomorrow or today? or-
I'm gonna try to get that today.
Okay, to her.
To Julie, yeah.
Okay, and then Julie, you thinking tomorrow at the latest?
Depends on when you get it to me.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, timing, okay.
Yeah, I will
That's
try to
fine.
get this out before like 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Apologies, how does timing go? Is it possible to discuss the findings at the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We- It's the 25th, so
Yeah, so
they
what's
have to
gonna happen
respond by
is,
7 days prior
the
to, so
18th.
you can put it as a discussion item.
yes, so it'll be the 18th, and what I will do, and actually I would like to note this. What, we'll get all, that's the deadline day. Once that's done, I will compile them into a document for everybody to see, but I don't think that should be posted on the public agenda. Or do you think it should be, do you think for sensitivity concerns, or? Because what if people affix their name to it, they say, but I don't want the public to see. That's tricky,
That's real tricky,
yeah,
because I think you're gonna get county board members that are gonna put their name on them.
Yeah.
Okay, because they want to.
no, they want to, yeah.
They've called me and they want to, okay? So now we gotta be careful. There's a fine line here, what we do with this.
Because it is gonna be posted on the agenda item, or you guys could just look at the results and internalize them, and it wouldn't be a reading document. But I don't wanna violate any open meetings laws,
I know,
so
pretty much if we have them in our hands, it's public information.
it is. So,
So if they sign, they sign.
all right, I guess that's the intention, it's gonna be public info, and that's that.
Yes.
So. Should we
Is it fair to put that
disclose
on
that?
disclose that on the, so that they know that they can, or they don't have to sign their name?
Right,
And
so how about this, we'll just put, note.
and apologies for the really naive
No,
question.
no,
Does,
no.
does the submission of these and the discussion require that these are posted as an exhibit? Or does that violate the rule? Don't know.
In this particular case, because this is, you know, feedback and this is a, you know, this is a task force. This, would then be required to be public information. But at the same time, I do think that we have to have some sort of common courtesy, to let people know that they, are not required to sign their name.
Right.
They remain anonymous, but this information will be public per our open meetings.
So you can say
meetings
no.
laws.
Per the county, per open meetings laws.
Opposed to coming through your email, which knows, now we know who it
Right.
is.
Per open meeting laws. Open meeting laws. These responses.
The whole thing here is county board supervisors and department heads are
Yes.
saying, is there any way we can be tracked on this? And I go, we're not out to track you.
No,
They go, is there any way somebody's gonna know what my comments are?
if you write your name on it, yeah.
If you sign it,
Right.
or,
Only if you sign it.
or if you hand write it and turn it in.
Like, for example, there was a supervisor who did that for his copy of the survey. I know. who
And he
is.
signed it, didn't he?
I don't know if he signed it, but I knew that I emailed him a paper copy.
Yeah.
So,
That's one in particular that.
right,
I said, don't sign it. Well, I want them to know. Okay, well, then you're public information.
well, exactly, so I think pro for me, as long as these responses will be recorded,
Nothing is perfect.
recorded as statistics and publicly available.
We have to look at it from that side.
Well, we have no choice.
We have no choice.
Yeah. You do not have to write your name. I will underline that.
What would be your take on the idea that if we distribute the questionnaire to the department heads, we say that it is confidential,
Yes,
and that,
Right.
and that would eliminate the problem having to put it, publish it. It would be able, we would have to then go into closed session to discuss the confidentiality of the replies. This way, we may draw out more
honest,
confidential
yeah,
replies
Right.
from the department heads,
because it won't be.
and we won't involve the general public in that. Of course, in a closed session, any county board supervisor can attend
Mhm.
a
So they can
closed
hear that.
session.
Yeah,
So that, you know, I think we can deal with two birds with one stone. You can cover your concern about open meetings law.
Right.
And you can have the confidentiality, which may elicit a higher level of response. But of course, you know, whatever they say is gonna somehow
sure.
come back.
Okay, yeah, so.
I
do
like
we-
that.
Yeah. go into closed
because
session.
I would, whatever direction we go, leave it alone or make a change. I would really love to hear the feedback.
All right, Beth, you care for going to closed session?
I don't, I wanna do it right.
Yep.
Okay, but I'm saying that you can't control what's gonna come back from the department heads. If they wanna sign their name,
They can.
they can.
They don't
It's
have to, though.
America.
Yeah.
Spell America. So we can't prevent that,
Right,
but from our perspective, we have to take
we
that
have to
in,
protect them.
right.
Yeah, we do. So, all right, so we will go into closed session.
At the beginning of the 25th.
Yeah.
But realizing what Paul said, any
Yes.
supervisor
Any
can be
supervisor
in
can come,
closed session.
but, yeah, and it's up to them.
Yeah.
So,
Can I make a comment on that?
go for it.
On the solid waste board, we have had a closed session. One of our solid waste board members is a snowbird, is in Florida. And he was, of course, he wasn't able to vote when it came time for voting. But he was able to attend a closed session by Zoom, okay, because the person in charge of setting up Zoom can control who can come in and who can go out.
Right.
So that even if we're in closed session, when I'm on vacation at the 25th, I'll be able to hear whatever is said.
So you're not gonna be here at the next meeting? Okay. All right, so there'll be notes.
Only before, by way of Memphis.
So, all right, notes. We will discuss responses in closed session.
So it's up to the chairman of you, Jacob.
Yes.
You could have 5 people on Zoom that are county board supervisors.
Right.
We had a closed session at Parkview, and Mary Ann was involved in that, and she said, you can let in who you want or no one.
Okay,
And she preferred that no one.
I may do that.
Because
If there are supervisors
they can
on
listen,
Zoom. Right,
but she said, it's closed session, you need to keep the focus.
right. So if half the county boards on there, say we have to remove them. And then, but if they're present here.
But you can't prevent them from coming.
No, so if they want to show up, I mean, if they're looking on Zoom in the parking lot, they can put their phone away and walk in. So, we will discuss responses in closed session.
So you want to do that right away.
Yes, that'll be the first
Okay.
agenda item,
All right.
right after the gavel. So we will discuss responses in closed session. So your answers are confidential.
I might suggest we double check the section of the law that permits closed session, so that at
In
the
statute.
at the right, according to the proper statute, that would relate to the topic that we're going to discuss.
So per statute.
And so, you start the meeting off
Right.
open session,
Mhm.
but then you
Go
go,
into-
you vote,
You
you go
recess and go
into,
into, yeah.
you go into, vote to go into closed.
So per statute, we will discuss responses in closed session. As your answers are confidential. Right, so say the statute. We will discuss these in closed session, and then that'll be on the survey. So the department has to see this. I still want to say. Should that include you don't have to sign this? I think
I don't think you're gonna stop somebody that wants to sign
if they
it.
want to sign it, they're gonna sign it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna sign it.
Right. So,
Ignore it.
right,
Ignore the signature.
right,
You're dealing with a bunch of department heads, and if somebody wants to put their name on it,
they can.
and they go, I don't really care, I want you to know that this was my survey.
Then there you go.
There
All
you
right,
go.
so. Okay. All right, so
I think we've covered
I think we're good.
pretty much.
All right, so we have our notes, for statute, committee, commission, board, rework the questions, okay.
Okay,
So I'm gonna motion to pass this as amended,
so move.
Second.
okay? Motion by Mary Beth, second by Conley. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next meeting date, Thursday, May 25th, 2023 at 6 o'clock. Deadline is Thursday, May 18th. And then you will be sent those items that day as well. We'll try to get this out, once all the responses get out. So you guys will have a week to look at them. They will not be posted because it's a closed session item. And then if that's that, hopefully then we can. I would like to see we can get this wrapped up, so that's that. All right, so I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good.
In reality, we're moving as fast as we can.
Yes.